Howdy doody do, motherfuckers. How are you? Today's title is Stop Talking Just to Talk. I'm gonna let y'all simmer on that for just a second. We gotta cross the leg too. Stop talking just to talk. Now, this is something that I struggled with for a while because I just enjoy talking about things that I'm very passionate about. But stop talking just to talk. If you have no idea why you're talking, like there's no direct intention behind it, there's no point in talking. If you don't know consciously what the end of the conversation is going to look like, there's no point of talking. You're just talking to talk at the end of the day. Now, here are some of the things that are going to happen to you if you're just talking to talk. First thing is going to happen to you is you're going to notice people stop listening to you. They're just going to assume you're talking just to talk. They're not going to give a fuck about what you're saying. No matter how deep, no matter how profound, and no matter how important it is, they're just going to start muting you out because they don't care. Because most of the times you don't care. Also, the more silent you are, people project their imagination onto you, almost. So whenever you're not talking, they perceive that you're intelligent. They perceive that what you have to say is important because you speak so little. Now, if there's introverts who have really bad body language, and there's obviously nuance to this, but in general, if you're a average confidence person, actually a little bit above average confidence person, your body language is confident, they automatically assume that this person is they're a tough guy, or they're somebody who's not to be messed with. Like, for example, have you ever heard they were intelligent until they opened up their mouth? Or have you ever heard women say he was attractive until he opened up his mouth? It's because they were just talking to talk. Now, if you know what your intentions are while you're speaking, it's a very, very powerful thing because most people don't have any intention while they're talking. It makes your conversations more captivating. People will listen more to you. People are more inclined to come to you and ask you certain things because you're not giving away that freely. Now, as you know, I'm a little bit of a hippy dippy, airy fairy. You know what I'm saying? I'm a ghetto shaman if you really want me to be honest about it. And speaking is actually like it is one of the most powerful things that you can do. Every time that you speak, it's like you're spending energy every time that you speak. And the longer that you're quiet, the more it builds up. That's why there's things called, if you've ever done sales, there's times where they've written in the pitch that you're supposed to pause. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this, but they say whoever controls the first 5 seconds of conversation controls the entire conversation. Now, some of the things that I've noticed after I've stopped talking just to talk is that I'm able to see people's intentions a lot more clearly. I can see what this person is thinking. I take moments to actually observe their body language now. So, for example, let's say you're talking to somebody that you're interested in, right? And this is a common thing that most people fall into. Whenever they're around their crush, they just they just keep talking. They just keep talking. They just keep talking because they don't want to. They're afraid of that silence. If you're talking because you're afraid of silence, we are social creatures and we pick up on that. We pick up on that, plain and simple. That is, it's just it exudes desperation when you're doing that. You understand? So some of the things, as I said, I'm able to read body language a lot more. My conversations, I have a lot more control over them now because I'm not afraid to let the conversation die. That's a very powerful spot to be in. Like, it almost forms an indifference. You're indifferent if the conversation continues. You're indifferent if anybody talks to you. Think about that. Like the words that I just said, the last few words that I said, a person who has nothing to say doesn't think like that. It's like you become magnetic almost. People are wondering what's going on inside of your head. What conversations is this person having? I want to become a part of their world. I want to see what their world looks like. I want to see what the experience would be like. People become extremely curious of you at the end of the day. Some other things that I've become more observant of whenever I'm not afraid or of being silent and I'm not just talking to talk is that whenever I do decide to speak, it's strange. People have said I'm more charismatic since I've started speaking less. The more you talk, the more you have the opportunity to mess up. You have more opportunity to offend somebody. That's why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. A lot of times when you're quiet and you're mindful of the conversation going on, you're actually paying attention and you're listening, it makes people feel good because, as I said, we're social creatures. We evolved to be social. We observe body language. We have like a sixth sense to if somebody's actually listening to us or if they're just one ear and out of the other. It makes people feel a lot better in your life when you're just present with them. You're experiencing the moment with them. So I know this video is a little bit short. I'm actually working on doing a lot more short form content. If you want to have like a meet and greet, if you want to have a consultation, go ahead and hit me up. I'll have the link in the bottom in the description. It'll either be my Instagram or it'll be my my actual meet and greet link because I've been doing a bunch of nerdy stuff to help out with the music, basically managing myself and things of that nature. That's another thing. Whenever, I'm sorry, I basically started ending the video, but another thing, whenever you're, sorry, it's a fly. Whenever you're more present in the situation, it's almost as if the conversation has a natural flow to it. So you know how people talk about, I don't know when the conversation is supposed to end. I don't know exactly how to start a conversation. I don't know how to, keep it going. Whenever you're present in that situation, you're not just talking to talk. It becomes very apparent. The conversation leads itself, if that makes any sense. So for example, let's say I called up a homegirl and I'm like, hey, how are you doing? How's your day been? We get into the conversation. And I kind of want to tell her something of what I'm doing in the music industry. But I'm not desperate to tell her what's going on. In the conversation, if she brings it up, obviously it was meant for me to tell her about what's going on. I'm not pressed to do it. Or for example, let's say you're talking to a really pretty girl, or you're talking to a really handsome guy. And you're like, I'm not sure if I should ask for their number, I'm not sure if I should ask them to go on a date. The person may say something like, oh yeah, I'm not really getting into anything this weekend. I'm just chilling at home, I'm kind of bored. Or it's going to be a really boring weekend. That's like a cue. Oh, this person kind of wants to hang out with me. Or, one moment, I got to think about some other situations where it becomes apparent. It basically just, when the conversation is supposed to change and you're being present, it's like exclamation points in bolded when it's supposed to switch, if that makes any sense. Like it's emphasized and there is an energy change during that point in the conversation. And it just flows. You could have a conversation forever by just not talking the talk. Because everybody loves to talk about themselves. And that's really all you have to do, is just allow people to talk about themselves at the end of the day. So stop talking to talk. It's going to make you way more charismatic. It's going to allow you to actually see the structure of conversations, because all conversations are the same at the end of the day. Like, there's an intro, hi, how are you doing? There's a short story of why you're there. I know this is sales, but there's a short story of why you're there. Hey, how you doing? I'm Gerald, and you are? I saw you from around the way, and I thought I'd come talk to you. Boom. That was like very short, but it explains why I'm there. And then obviously the conversation flows into wherever it goes from there. But talking just to talk, it's basically shooting yourself in the foot. You're basically allowing your energy to leak out. So like I said, hit the description below. Follow me on Instagram, on my socials. Hit me up with a DM. I'd love to get to know you guys a little bit more. And go get it. Come back with it.